Hey, what's going on everyone? This is iReviews back with another video, and today we're talking about iOS 26.2. Now, as you probably know, this is still on beta stages and it should be released very soon, even though this week we didn't actually get a new update from Apple. Apple just took a week off and didn't release any new betas for iOS 26.2 or any other update whatsoever. But this upcoming week should be really important for the cycle of iOS 26.2, and we should get a very important update this Monday or Tuesday. Now, as you probably know by now, iOS 26.2 is on its third beta right now, and it's basically ready to be released. It is actually really good when it comes to performance. Also, battery life is great. And there are a lot of cool new features that are coming with this update to your device, like the ability to change and now the liquid glass look on the clock on your lock screen using the slider. We have the all new animations that are actually really awesome. So everywhere on iOS 26 you will have these really cool animations that look very similar to the ones that we saw at WWDC 2025, where Apple showcased for the first time iOS 26, and they have actually been amazing. And now they're basically back to what they should be with that, of course, preview that we saw on iOS 26. There are other new features, like we get finally reminders with alarms, so you get alarms when you set a reminder. That's pretty cool. We have like new features for the game app. You can finally head on to the library on the game app and you can sort and filter all of your games with things like controller support, and of course on this iPhone and Apple Arcade and all that stuff. There are also updates, big updates to the Measure app. We have an all new Measure app now. As you can see right here, this is the Measure app, and now it's all on liquid glass, and it's pretty awesome. We also have other updates like the podcast app with a ton of new features and other smaller features that actually make this great. But what's happening with the release of iOS 26.2? Why didn't Apple release any betas even though we were on a weekly cycle? Well, it was Thanksgiving week, so they took a week off, and now we should be back this upcoming week. And why I say this is very important, December 1st or 2nd should be the day that we get a new update. I really believe that this will actually be the last release before the public release of iOS 26.2. Now, we were expecting iOS 26.2 to be released on December the 8th, with an RC being released on December the 1st, but in that case we were hoping for a beta 4 right here on the 24th of November. So in this case here we have two different scenarios. Either way, we get the RC on the 1st and then the 8th will be the final release, or we get beta 4, then the RC on the 8th and then the final release on the 15th. But I truly doubt that. I think that Apple will actually go straight to the RC, and that will happen this upcoming week. With that being said, if iOS 26.2 gets released on its RC version, which by the way, of course, as you probably know, is the last release to the devs and to the public testers before iOS 26.2 gets out to the public, then on the 8th, we should get iOS 26.2 released to the public. Now, what to expect from the RC version? Of course, the usual updates, the usual bug fixes and improvements. The RC is the one that doesn't actually get a lot of new features, so don't expect a lot of, like a huge number of new features and changes. We might get some improvements here and there, but overall it will be basically just a polished version of iOS 26.2, and they had like a 2-week time to actually do this, so that should be a great update. Now, if that happens and if Apple releases the RC this week, which is again really important, if they do that, then you must know how to update your device if you're currently on the beta stages of iOS 26.2. Well, when we get the RC, most likely this Monday, you will have two different things that you can do. You can either go to your settings and update, so head on to the general settings, and just right here under software update, you can just go ahead and update your device. And that's what I will do, and that's what you should do, I believe, if you're on any of the betas of iOS 26.2. It doesn't matter whether you're on the public beta or the dev beta of iOS 26.2. But I know I don't know why, but there are still a lot of people that don't prefer like updating to the RC, because once you update to the RC, you will no longer get the public release. That's because by installing the RC, you already have the exact same update that will be released to the public, so there's no need for you to actually update. But a lot of people just prefer updating to the public release instead of the RC. In that case, if the RC gets released this Monday, as I'm expecting to happen, then what you should do is, again, head onto your settings, go under General, under Software Updates, where you will have your beta updates right here. Make sure to turn them off. In this case, you will get stuck for another week with the third beta, and you won't get the RC update here at all. But once the week passes and iOS 26.2 is released to the public, then you come here, refresh your page, and that's where you should get the update for iOS 26.2, and that way you will update to the public release and of course leave the betas behind. But again, just updating to the RC is enough. You don't need to wait another week for the public release. Now, if you want to update and just stay on iOS 26.2 and no longer continue installing betas, after you update to the RC, you can just go ahead and then turn off the betas, which means that you won't be getting the beta of iOS 26.3, because that most likely will also be released very, very soon. Talking about that, I would expect Apple to actually release the first beta of iOS 26.3 right after the release of iOS 26.2 to the public. So if it happens, if they release iOS 26.2 to the public on the 8th, then most likely later that week or the beginning of the next week, we should get the first beta of iOS 26.3, and that will be one beta release, and then the second one will most likely be somewhere towards the week of the 12th of January, because of course it's the holiday season. They will take a few weeks off, so most likely iOS 26.3 beta 1 is coming here either like the week of 15th or the 8th, and then the second beta most likely right here somewhere around the 12th or the 13th of January. So these are basically all the new releases and what you can expect from Apple in the coming days. Again, this Monday is really important because we will know whether we'll have to wait more or less for the release of iOS 26.2 to the public, but I truly believe that this week we're getting the RC, and then on the 8th we're getting iOS 26.2 released to the public. But should you update or not? Well, if you're on the betas of iOS 26.2, most likely on the third one, then go ahead and update to whatever release is on Monday. That will be most likely the RC, but even if it's another beta 4, you should go ahead and update. Of course, every time a new beta is out, you must update. But if you're on iOS 26.1, then I wouldn't just bother updating to a beta. I would wait for the public release, because that's most likely just a week away from now. At worst, it should be 2 weeks. So either, of course, the 8th or the 15th will be the day that we get iOS 26.2 released to the public, so you don't have to bother with updating your device at all. So that's basically it for this video, guys. iOS 26.2 is coming out really soon. Again, it is a really important update, a big update, also a lot of improvements. The performance is, as always with iOS 26, very smooth, very fast, and the new animations make it even better. And also, what has surprised me for the best is the battery life on iOS 26.2. It is actually, even though being on beta, it is actually really good. So this update should also improve the battery life of your device. So that's basically it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys on the next one.